Hi everybody, my name is Val. I'm the founder of EMotorWerks. Today we will show you how to operate the premium version of our JuiceBox, which is right here and charging this RAV4 EV right now. So we're going to unplug it and run the charging sequence in full from the beginning so you can see how you can control the JuiceBox. Here is a screen, LCD screen, where all the parameters are. We'll do more zoom in later. There is a Wi-Fi module right under it. Right now this JuiceBox is connected through our house Wi-Fi to the internet and posting data to our server, where you can later access that data on our web page. On the label here, as many of you know already, our power rating is about 15 kilowatts, 60 amps, universal voltage, 120 volts to 240 volts. So now we're getting to the most interesting part. It's the control LCD and remote operation of the JuiceBox. What you see on the screen here is again LCD and a little bit of a Wi-Fi module. This is a default screen. When you power your JuiceBox, this is what you're going to see. It will tell you the firmware version, and it will tell you several statistic points. So right now it tells you that during the lifetime of this unit, the total amount of energy that's passed through it is about 15 kilowatt hours, and based on the price of gas and the average fuel economy of a typical American vehicle, this means that this unit has saved about $5 worth of gas to the owner who drove electric for 15 kilowatt hours. It will also tell you how much energy was in the lost charge, and it tells you what voltage and amperage it's set to. What you can do from here is, if you just plug it in, it will start charging, but you can also do some settings. So on the bottom in blue you see the menu, button A. So let's click that. What you have here is 4 different options in the exit. What you can do is, with the remote, basically take the remote and use the button. Button designations are on the bottom of the screen. A button is moving the cursor up, D button is moving the cursor down, so you can say, let's set the current to something else. Right now we're setting the current for the whatever the JuiceBox is plugged into right now, which is 240 volts. If you plug it into 120, you will be able to set a different current limit just for 120 volts. So right now it's set to 42 amps, and again on the bottom you see the designations of the button, so we can reduce that by pressing button D and holding it. So you can see that the limit is going down, so we'll stop at 30. Here we go, and we press button C to select. It sets it up and it exits the menu. The next one is the print ID. This is used in Wi-Fi enabled JuiceBoxes to associate your JuiceBox with an online account. So you press the C button and JuiceBox prints its unique ID. What you do with that is, as described in our manuals online, you copy that ID without any spaces and you enter it in the appropriate field on EMotorWerks website. Let's click out of here, button C again. You can also set the clock. You can see on the top line of the LCD, just after the version of the JuiceBox, there is time setting. Right now it's not quite correct, so we can go in and set the right time. First you set the date, the day of the week, so it's Sunday today. It's about 7 p.m. so it's a 24-hour notation. Choose 19. The minutes we're going to keep the same. So right now you see on the top of the screen the time has been reset, and why it's important is because the next item on the menu is set time of use. From the factory, it will the JuiceBox will come pre-programmed to charge between midnight and 7 a.m. on a weekday and midnight and 5 p.m. on a weekend. This just happens to be how PG&E in Northern California sets its time of use tariff. So your tariffs might be different, and you will be able to set them, set the time correctly here. Two settings are available: one for weekday, one for the weekend. So what we're going to do here is we are going to, let's just for an example, set it to run from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. on a weekday, and from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. on a weekend. Okay, so we used all the menu items, and we now are ready to exit. And what you see here is a new line on the bottom that appeared, which basically says that right now the JuiceBox is not allowed to charge because it's outside of the time of use window, and you have to wait. If you want to respect your charging settings, you will have to wait for 405 minutes. You can of course override that with the button C. You can see that also on the bottom in blue. The second to last line says C equals force start. This is exactly what we're going to do now by replugging the JuiceBox into a car. Okay, so now we see the start charge menu, or rather screen. It shows the power that goes out of the unit, the time of run, the amperage, and total amount of energy that went into the vehicle. So right now we have a RAV4 charging at about 30 amps from 240 volts. So that's about 7.5 kilowatts or so. What we can do here is increase or decrease the current limit that JuiceBox announces to the car. So we know, for example, that RAV4 can charge at 40 amps. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to increase the charging rate. The allowed charging rate, which is communicated by the J1772 pilot signal, is shown in the parentheses on the third line from the bottom. By pressing menu button A, we are going to increase that. Now let's take it to 40 amps, and you can actually see that the vehicle follows the increase in the allowed current, and right now it's charging at a little bit over 40 amps, which is right about 10 kilowatts, which is the maximum amount of current or maximum amount of power that RAV4 can pull. If we continue increasing the limit, the car will stop follow at some point. So we now can take it all the way to 60 amps, which is the rating of JuiceBox, and the car will just stops at its maximum rating. So one more function that is available at any point, whether you're in the menu or in one of these screens, is pressing button B, which is hardwired to the wireless one button setup. So usually you would do it only once per JuiceBox after you install it in your location in your house. Pretty much every Wi-Fi router that's sold today has this function. There is a button on it that says either WPS or AOSS or similar. You can read it in the manual. You can press it, and for 30 seconds, within 30 seconds you will need to press a B button on your remote when JuiceBox is powered, of course, and JuiceBox will associate with your Wi-Fi router, and that's how you give it access to the internet. So this one is obviously already associated, and it's pushing data. So next we're going to take a look at how the data looks. Okay, so we're looking on the computer screen that is pointing to the URL, the address on the EMotorWerks website, where you would be able to see your charging data. You can see here that the JuiceBox ID is, you probably don't remember, but it is the same as on the units that we've took a video right now, just earlier, a few minutes ago. So what it's doing is refreshing every minute. It's refreshing the data, and the data displayed here is across the 3 charts. The first one is showing total energy delivered in the session. So the previous charge that we did in this unit is shown here, and it goes up to about 13-14 kilowatt hours on that charge. And now we start in the new one, which is just a blip on the end, but it will grow with time. The next one is the total lifetime energy delivered by this unit. So this is a just a newly assembled unit, so it didn't have any energy passed through it just a few hours ago, so now it's ramping up. And after a few days or a few weeks, you would basically see a flat line with this slow ramping up. And on the bottom there is instantaneous power. So this is charging at about 10.2 kilowatts right now, which is what this line shows, right between 9 and 12 kilowatts. And on the bottom, on every chart, you see the time. And normally it's in some units scaled from the reporting intervals. Normal reporting interval is about 1 minute on the JuiceBox. You can check a different scale of the reporting by editing the URL. We'll soon have a proper form on our website that you will be able to use to get all this data. But for now, for example, if you want to zoom out just a little bit, you would change the single reporting interval to 3. It would compress the charts by a factor of 3. So everything is compressed. It's useful when you have the unit that was operating for a while and you want to see its history, for example, over several days. We are now working on building in a full controllability of the Wi-Fi connected juice boxes from your mobile phone, from the smartphone, and through the internet. So this is coming up in the next few months. Stay tuned. So hopefully this little overview helps you understand what the Premium JuiceBox can do for you, and we're looking forward to having you as our customer.